Yeah, Thursday the 11th of January. Hope everybody had an amazing trading day. Welcome to the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson, doing what we do each and every day here on the DMC. We're going to look at the same 10 to 12 futures markets and look at the trades that we have set up. Now, always remember this about the Daily Market Commentary. For those of you that are new to the channel, we leave the lines on the charts, and we leave the lines on the charts most importantly to talk about accountability and so that you can see how trades work out over time. So let's just dive into it. And like the Jeffersons, we're moving on up as the S&P. As of at this moment of recording, we are at an all-time high of 2770. The world is on fire, right? Things just feel like they can never come down. And, you know, it's one of those positions where sometimes when it feels like it can never come down, it might come down on you hard. And so just be aware of that. You know, at any time we can get a pretty decent sized reversal. This is not a bad opportunity if you understand options to look at maybe buying some insurance on some of these things where the volatility as low as it is, and maybe even, you know, I was talking to a friend today. He says we're in the zone of just screw it and buy calls, right? I mean, just, you know, because it's one of these markets where things just seem to keep going up, and I don't think they'll go up forever. That we'll talk about that more on a bigger picture scale. But we are continuing to rally. Still have this area down here that we had for a potential reversal, which did not get hit for an entry on the S&P. We put in a new potential area today, you know, in the overnight hours right in through here. I'm not going to mark it off just yet, and I'm certainly not going to mark off any shorts. Our Nasdaq trade is continuing to march higher, so I don't know how many of you were able to enter into that Nasdaq trade, but it's up almost 100 points since our entry, and that one is continuing to run. So I would highly, you know, I would say that if you've gotten if you've gotten some run on this, you might want to take some stop and move it up to lock in some profits. It all depends on your trading style on whether or not you do it. Yesterday, we took and changed this line to a dashed line simply because we want to make sure that it's lowered its probability just slightly by having this entry point. So as far as adding new areas, you know, if there's a little bit of a pullback, you might get something right through here on this 15-minute time period. I see that there's going to be a potential opportunity right in through here if we don't get a deep enough pullback, you know, to get into where we were. So just kind of keep this area in mind. And remember, always, these 15-minute levels are always slightly lower degree of probability. And the reason for that is because anytime we go onto a smaller time frame, we've got smaller probability chances on here. So keep that area as a potential in mind. Crude oil. So crude oil, we had a breakout trade, and the breakout trade, if you're taking this breakout, you move for a nice little 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1. And I set this out on the Twitter feed today that it looks like we may be pulling down into an area. So this one worked out for a pretty nice 2-to-1, 3-to-1. Hopefully you're able to take your stop and move it up. I know, you know, I would have certainly at least expected you to take your stop and move it up underneath here, and maybe even have some sort of, if you're day trading it, have some sort of a stop where you moved it up at least even underneath this area here. So I'm going to remove that for today. But looking at this on a 4-hour, and I don't normally pull up 4-hour areas, but we've got this area here, which was a really long period of basing. We're coming back into this really long period of basing. There's another area down in here. Looking at it on the hourly chart, because that period of basing was so long, I would prefer in this area to do a candle-to-candle style of trade. So if you want to get in this thing, look at it more of a candle-to-candle style. And in that candle-to-candle style, you're getting long when we get higher than the prior candle's high, and your stop goes just below the prior candle's low. So you wouldn't be in it as of this point yet. You'd have to wait for some sort of a confirmation to get you in. And I would look to, you know, right around 64.20 as a first profit objective in something like that, because there's going to be a little bit of resistance up in here. If indeed that does come. Now that had happened in the next couple of hours for those of you that are watching this in the evening hours. Gold. So in my mind, gold could be setting up for a breakout long. You know, we are kind of chopping along this area here. We could get a breakout long on gold above this 1330. I'm not ready to mark it off quite as of yet, but I think that could become a potential area in the future to keep an eye on. Bonds. So bonds, we had the breakout short, and now it's starting to rally back up. Now that rally back up could give us another bite at the apple. I talked about taking your stop and moving it down. So my guess is most of us have probably been stopped out for some sort of a profit. So I'm going to remove this line as of now. You still may be in your short, and that's okay too if you decided not to move your stop and just let it continue to run. Originally we talked about the target being 123, and it achieved that and then some. We are, we've put in 2 consecutive higher swing lows on the hourly chart, and we are sitting at an area where we could see a little bit of a drop down. We could also see a breakout to the upside here. This is kind of surprising in that I really thought that we'd continue down, but I'm not going to fight the market, right? I'm not going to fight what the charts are telling me to do. So for right now, I'm gonna stand pat. I'm gonna stand firm. I'm gonna hold on the sidelines for a little bit, and then maybe it'll set up for a better opportunity in the future. Looking real quick here at the Aussie. So the Aussie is coming close to a potential reversal point up above. We're not quite there yet, but still waiting on that area. The euro. So the euro today, we had a nice little reversal area set up here, and it did that. Yeah, that's technically a trading term. I'd love to say that I use a soundboard for that, but nope, that's 100% authentic. No, it just came up into the level, and I think there was an announcement about the being a little bit more. I think the word is hawkish on the European monetary policy, and it just caused the euro to rally and the dollar to fall, and so we blew right through. So I'm going to remove this one. That one was a stop out for a small loss, but once again, small losses, I'll take those all day long, allow those winners to continue to run. The Canadian dollar, we did not quite come into our area today. That area does still exist. We're going to leave that in place. The Great British Pound, we had a setup in the pound for a breakout, and I posted this earlier today. That went against me quickly. It did break out and started to move down. So depending on your, how tightly you managed it, maybe you got out at a break even or got out with a small loss or maybe even a small profit. I don't know how you would have managed it. Everybody's going to manage it based on their own rules. But that one, it escalated quickly on the reversal and kind of came back up. So that news coming out of Europe really affected that pound trade as well as the euro trade, caused them to kind of go the opposite way, the way we expected. But that's okay. You're going to have days like that. Allowing the other trades to continue to run is really going to be key. On the Japanese yen, we are sitting at an area now. We've continued this rally higher, was unable to get filled on any of these levels. I've really not had great luck in getting a pullback into any of my areas that I like on the yen. And really that's because the yen's been just in this basing phase, right? We are coming to an area right up here at the very, very top. Looking back, all the way back into here that we have fallen off of. That we had fallen off of in the past, and now we've kind of come up through there. So we broke through that high, and our next real high areas don't come into play until back in here. So you really have to go back into this territory to find anything. So that tells me that there's some room for price to continue to run from where we are, kind of at this moment. We may get a little bit. Let me draw some lines on this here. There may be a little bit of something here. Moving forward, we're kind of getting up into that range. And so looking at that, there could be a little bit of something here. So just kind of keep that area in mind in the future for the yen. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this thing off for today. Hope everybody had a great trading day. If you've got any questions, certainly feel free to reach out. Chuck@iiefinancial.com. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you soon.